Okay, so we discuss about language, and we talk about he who controls language controls the world. We were there, we stopped there. Now, another topic on culture, because we are still talking about culture, isn't it?
Yeah.
We started with norms and values and all mores and folks ways, all of that. But now we are talking still about culture. And when we talk about culture, there are also different things on culture. One is we talk about subculture. Culture, subculture. Subculture. What does it mean, subculture? Subculture, that is page 49. Subculture means a smaller culture within a dominant culture. You have a dominant culture. For example, in Holland, what is a dominant culture in Holland? Dutch culture. Yeah, there's a dominant culture, but then you have subcultures. Subcultures are small cultures, small groups of cultures within that dominant culture. And these subcultures, they have their own culture, but they are within the bigger culture. We call them subculture. Subculture. They have some things that distinguish them between them and the main culture or the dominant culture. So, for example, let me speak about sociology. Sociology, you have sociology as a general course. You have all the sociology professors. Now, that's a general. But then within sociology, you have subcultures as well. Sociologists who are only giving economic sociology, who are only giving psychological sociology, who are only giving cultural engineering. So there are different subcultures. So, or another example, like Holland, you have a Dutch society, but within the Dutch, white society, you have Moroccan society. You have Suriname society, or like a Turkish society. So there are sub-society, and these sub-societies have their own culture, their own language, everything, but somehow they are in that society, in that culture. Good. Now, listen carefully, when this subculture, please listen very carefully. When this subculture become absorbed, that means adopt itself to the dominant culture, we talk about assimilation. Assimilation. That's why in Holland we talk, the foreigners should assimilate. What does it mean? You have to adopt yourself, you have to submit, you have to subdue to the dominant culture. So when the subculture subdues to the dominant culture, we talk about assimilation. For example, let us take an example in Philippines. Main language is Tagalog. Yeah, but there are many tribes, there are different people, but suddenly all of them speak Tagalog. Why? Because they have assimilated to the dominant culture. Even though they are from Baguio, they have their own language, yet they all speak Tagalog. And they all live Tagalish lifestyle. Even though they are from Baguio, but they are like Tagalog, and the culture is generally the same. So if you go to Baguio or you go to Santa Cruz, is almost the same. The same malls, the same shops, the same habit of eating. Why? Because that subculture has already assimilated to the dominant culture. We talk about assimilation. Or like you are a Nigerian, you come to Holland, and then you marry to a Dutch woman, and then Basically, you don't talk anymore your language. You only talk Dutch, and you live Dutch. You eat Dutch. You talk Dutch. You dress. You have assimilated, but as an individual. But when a group assimilates, isn't it? Like you speak Turkish, but suddenly all the Turkish community now they speak fluent Dutch. They live like Dutch. I actually you don't know they are Turkish anymore. That means they have assimilated. Like many Jews in Holland. Some Jews no, but some Jews yes.
Yeah.
You don't distinguish. You think they are Dutch, but actually they're Jews. So when a subculture take over, when subculture submit and take over the dominant culture habits and so, we talk about assimilation. But it's not always that easy, because some subculture they accept the way it is. They are, they accept it. But you have another subculture, we call it counterculture, and they are subcultures that say no, we don't accept everything. We want change. We want our language, our culture, our symbols to be respected. We want respect and we want our rights. This counterculture always opposes the dominant culture. So in every society, you have subculture, you have counterculture, and you have dominant culture. And this is always in battle. Always in battle. Sometimes the counterculture loses, it becomes a subculture. And after a while, it becomes a dominant culture. They become a part of dominant culture. They are assimilated. But some of them, they stay counterculture, and they oppose the main culture. And then sometimes you have calamities and problems. You see, and you have that with many countries, like even I think in the Philippines, you have this southern part, they want independence, they want their own thing, Mindanao, I think, isn't it, Mindanao? And then you have in maybe other countries, I am not so familiar, but maybe in Nigeria or in your country also, then there is a part of a country that wants to be separate, or they want to be independent because they want their language to be respected, or whatever. So there are counterculture and dominant culture. But this doesn't only necessarily needs to be in a society like we know. It can be in a company. You just talk about your company, they are beginning to change, isn't it? Sociology, they are beginning to change. Now some people accept it. They accept the change, like you accept it. So even though you are against it, but you accept it, you are subculture, but you accept the change. Now you are being trained to continue in that company. But you have also counterculture in that company who says, no, we don't like that change. We don't like that computer software or whatever. Then they fight. And then sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. You see? So it's in everywhere. It can be trade unions. It can be NGOs. It can be human rights activities, like that. So counterculture can be many things. Even in a political party. For example, you have one political party, they have all one ideas, but within them, you also have cultures, subcultures, and like that. So these are always what? In battle. They always want to improve their position. They always want their rights. They always, and sometimes they are winning. Sometimes, most of the time, they lose. That is it. But then there is some other things you need to know. Then we are done with the culture. Then we continue. There is something you need to know, and that is the first thing you need to know is ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism. Now, what does ethno means? Ethno means ethnicity, ethnic. Centrism means center. What does ethnocentrism means? Ethnocentrism means that your values, your norms, your culture is more important than anybody else. In other words, you measure other people based on your own culture. That means your culture, your ethnicity is center. Ethnocentric people are most narrow-minded people. People who are ethnocentric, they are not open for other people's ideas. They are not open to understand other people's ways. Why? Because they measure other people's culture based on their own culture. Like, for example, in the Philippines, we always do like that. So, a Nigerian must also do like that. But that's not true, because Nigerian culture is a different than Filipino culture. So you cannot measure a Nigerian culture based on your culture. And when you do that, you are ethnocentric. That means I measure everybody based on my culture. And if anyone does not fall in my culture, then that is wrong. You call that ethnocentrism. And there are many ethnocentric people in the world. Ethnocentric, no, egoist is different. Egoist means I am the center of everything. Egoist, ego means me. Egoist means I am the center and I don't care about anybody else. But ethno is different. Ethno is, well, I judge her based on my culture. She doesn't do the way my culture says, therefore she is bad. But it's not true, because in my culture, you should measure every culture within its own standards. You cannot bring your measuring stick of Filipino culture or Aruba culture or whatever and then measure, I don't know, Iraqi culture. No, you have to bring Iraqi culture measure and check the Iraqi culture. Don't you do that? You are looking at the world through your own view. You are ethnocentric. That's why ethnocentric people are narrow-minded people. Ethnocentric people don't want to accept other cultures. Maybe in their mouth they accept, but in their heart, no. You see? And that happens, That happens like, look, listen carefully. When we talk about ethnocentrism, means you enforce your values, you enforce your norms to other people. You force them. They don't do that, they are bad people. That means you are an ethnocentric person. Because your culture is central to your life. So anybody else is bad, anybody else is wrong, their culture is wrong, only my culture is correct. We call that what? Ethnocentrism. Listen carefully, because this can be an examination question. The opposite of ethnocentrism is cultural relativism. Cultural relativism. What does it mean? Relativism. Everything is relative. Nothing is absolute. Cultural relativism. It means you measure every culture based on their own standard. It's in your book. Cultural relativism. What does it mean? Cultural relativism is the opposite of ethnocentrism. Because with cultural relativism, you don't measure other people based on your standard, you measure them based on their standard. If in that culture lying is bad, you measure whether they lie or not. You see? So you measure it based on what they believe. You remember in the beginning of the lesson, the real culture and the ideal culture and the real culture? Now you check it. Are they doing it? The real culture and the ideal? Is it what they say? Do they do what they say? So you measure it based on them. That's why people who are cultural relative, they are very broad-minded people. They try to understand why people do certain things the way they do. But ethnocentric says, no, I don't understand. I don't care. I don't want to understand. That is how the way it is. They don't dress the way I dress. That dress is from a devil. is a demonic dress. My dress is good dress. Yeah, necktie and suit. But if someone comes with barong, that barong belongs to traditional, is from the devil. Or instruments, music instruments. Well, as long as it is piano or guitar, is good. But the drum, traditional drum or traditional music instrument, is from the devil, is from these natives. They are not good. They are demonic. That is ethnocentric. Ethnocentric means my culture is number one and anybody else is wrong. That's ethnocentrism. Well, I think I have discussed many aspects of culture, but you have to bear with me for more than 30 minutes to 40 minutes because this is only part one of the lesson. We have to deal with so many things. Wait, I have my lectures here. Good. Now, when we are talking about sociology, we are talking about paradigms and social theories. I will explain it as easy as possible for all of you. Paradigms and social theories. Okay. This is a bit difficult, but I hope you will try to understand. Okay. Look, let us begin this way. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. I thought you have it. Do you have, Jean? You have it? Yes. Okay. So, when we are talking about society, what do we study? Can somebody tell? Sociology. What? Society, isn't it? Yeah. How the way see, how the way people think. That is what we are studying, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Now, please forget about your text. Listen to me now. Mm-hmm. Good. If you want to look at society, okay, you need a framework. You cannot just come and say, well, I had a dream, so that is how the society is. No, that is no dream. You are scientists now, or scientists to be. You are becoming scientists, okay? Every one of you here. So, you need to have certain views, certain ideas, certain ways, certain techniques to look at the society. Okay? Now, therefore, in order for you to do that, you need theories and you need paradigms. Okay? I'm coming to explain that. What is a paradigm? Paradigm is a framework. Is a framework, is a reference through which you are looking at certain area, certain phenomena in the society. That's a paradigm. What's your paradigm? That's why suddenly when you change your thinking, you say you had a paradigm shift. Suddenly your paradigm shifts. Yeah? Paradigms are what? Frameworks. What does it mean? Paradigms are your glasses. Your glasses you put in order to look at the society. Paradigms are your microscopes, lenses. You look through that lens, you are looking at the society. Okay? Now, paradigms and theories. And what are theories? Theories are systematic way of thinking to explain why something happens the way it happens. So theory is explanation. Theories are explanations of why certain things happen in the society the way it happens. Now, in social science, meaning in sociology, you need paradigms. That means you need frameworks and you need theories to understand the society. Okay? And this and when you do that, you do it on two levels. Please, you have to bear with me. This is a bit difficult. You have two levels, macro level and micro level. What does macro level mean? Macro means big, large. Macro level means you look at the society in its large. Okay? Micro means you look at the society in its micro, in its small groups. Yeah. For example, unemployment. I want to study unemployment. Okay? Macro says, I want to know how many unemployed people are in Holland. So I go to the statistic company, click there. Okay, in Holland there are, I don't know, 3% or 6% unemployed. That's macro level, isn't it? And then, okay, I want to know what is their income, what is their average income before or whatever, why, like that. So it's all statistics on a macro level, isn't it? Yeah. But micro says, no, I'm not interested in only how many people are unemployed. I want to go to 20 unemployed people, 10 men and 10 women. I want to live with them. I want to eat with them. I want to observe them. I want to interview them. Why did they become unemployed? What is the reason for them that they are unemployed? So that is a micro level. So then they study 10 unemployed people or 20 unemployed people. Then they write a report. Yes, she is unemployed because blah, 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 blah. And then they can make a conclusion for everybody. So there are two ways. Macro level. Macro means you look at the whole society, like from above. Micro says, no, I want samples. Well, I will, let's say, migrant domestic worker. Okay? We talk about migrant domestic worker. Macro level, they are interested. How many migrant domestic workers from Philippines or Indonesia are in the world? Millions. Yeah, millions. Yeah. And how many of them are men? How many of them are women? Is macro level. What part of the society are they coming from? Who are they? What are they? That's macro level. Micro level says, well, I want to go to 50 of them and I want to interview them. I want to listen to their stories. I want to know who they are. Then, after that interview of 20 people, I will write a conclusion from, well, I have been with 20 or 30 domestic workers. This is their story. So it is different approach. It's like paradigm. You have paradigm of macro, you have paradigm of micro. You see? Micro is micro, you go deep inside, deep interview like that. Macro says, well, I know it's terrible for these Filipino domestic workers and they have experienced bad things, but I'm not interested in that. I'm interested, how many of them are they? So it's different. Both of them are okay. It depends on for what you are using it. So, because we are observing the society. We are not observing the moon. We are observing the society. So we need to know how we are looking at society. Okay, now listen carefully to me, because this is very, very difficult. But we have to go through this. Can you see in your sheet here? 1, 2, 3. There are 4 major theories in sociology. 4 major. There are actually many, but these are 4 major theories I put for you to simplify it for you. It's very difficult, I'm sorry, but we have to go through this. One of them is called structural functionalism. Don't be overwhelmed by the title. What does it mean? The structural functionalism. This is one of the earliest social science theories. Okay, listen to me. You need the theory to explain society. That's why you need the theory. So structural functionalism is one of the oldest theories in the sociology. It started with Herbert Spencer in 1820 to 1903, sorry. And he suggests that society is similar to organism. Society looks like a body, human body. Heart, breast, leg, eye, mouth, brain, everything. Okay? various organs are interrelated and interconnected. That was the idea of Mr. Spencer. He said, this is how you look at society. Society is an organism, like a human body. Then you had Emile Durkheim. Emile Durkheim is a very famous sociologist. And Emile Durkheim was influenced by this guy, Spencer, and he said, well, society is like an, organism with different organs, okay? And when one of these organs is in problem, other organs also will be in confusion. They will be affected. For example, if your body now, you have a heart problem, immediately your brain will be affected. Your if you have blood circulation problem, immediately maybe your liver will be affected. So he's saying that society, structural functionalism says, society is an organism. It has different organs. What are these organs? Social structures, organizations, systems. When these systems, one of them is broken, it can have effect to other systems. So people who are structural functionalists, they are looking at systems in a society. They want to know, how do these systems work? And if there is a problem in a society, maybe some systems are not working. So we need to find out what are these systems and where are the flaws. So basically, structural functionalists, they look at systems in the society. As we studied last week, organizations, social structures, because they are our organs. And they say, if one of them is not malfunctioning, it will affect other things. For example, most of you in your answers, you give family. Now, immigration affects family. Most mothers, fathers are separated. Now, when family is affected, other structures are also affected. Why? When mother and father are not together, there is a single motherhood or single fatherhood that has effect on child. Child cannot study well. Immediately, it has effect on education system, because education system doesn't know how to deal with these single mom children. See, so structural functionalist says we are all interrelated, and when one system is not functioning, it will affect other ones. You see? That is why, for example, when we talk about immigration, because most of us, this is our hot item. When we talk about immigration, in Holland, they make a distinction. They say there is a distinction between economic migrant and a political migrant. And they respect more the political migrant than the economic migrant. They say economic migrants are those who are poor, and then they are suffering, and then, they are coming here to look for their happiness, blah, blah, blah. But political, well, they are in danger. That's why we have respect them. But the economic, no. But actually it's nonsense. You know why? Because politics and economy are interrelated. If there is no economic injustice in the world, I don't think you and I would be in this country today. Yeah? And the economic injustice has to do with political injustice. Because there are some group of politicians, political powers, have monopoly over the economy. So economy and politics are together. So the economic migrant is actually also a political migrant. You understand that? So take a look at, for example, Africa. Yeah, I was talking with somebody in Ghana. He's saying that they have chicken or what was it? Tomato. I'm sorry, tomato. In northern part of his country, tomato, delicious tomatoes, good quality tomatoes, but they are destroying it because they have to import it from Europe. They have tomato, but they can't sell their own tomatoes. They are forced to buy tomato from abroad. The same issue is with the chicken. They have best poultry chicken, but they cannot sell their own chicken. They have to import frozen chicken. Well, this is economic injustice. That's why they say, the hell with it, I'm going to Europe to find for my job or whatever, because I cannot make money, I cannot live. Then the people here come and say, well, you see, they are poor people. They are looking for a job. But actually, they are not victim of only economic injustice. They are also victim of political injustice. You see? That is why the man told me, he said, our situation looks like you are binding my hand, binding my legs, putting me in a boxing ring to fight with Tyson. Of course, I will die. Isn't it? So that's the problem. So structural functionalism says, hey, hello, there is problem in the society because some institutions, being like the organ of this body, is not functioning. And because it is not functioning, everything is not functioning. That's one way of looking at the society. Now, let me give you this thing. You see this four theories. This looks like denominations in the churches. You know, some says I am Methodist, some says I am Baptist, some says I am Protestant. Some sociologians, they are also like that. Some sociologians, I am a structural functionalist. So every possible problem in the world is because of this, you know. And some of them, no, I am social conflict theoretician, you know, like, so some of them are Marxists. They say, we will talk about that, Marxism. So they have their own doctrine, like, I am cultural functionalist. So there is problem in the world is because of this. There is problem in the society because of this. That's one way of looking, you know. Yes. Most of the time, these structural functionalists, they look to the macro level. They are not interested into detail. They are looking more in the macro level. Is it clear so far? Yes. I'm trying to make it as sweet as possible. Okay. The second theory, the framework of theory, is called social conflict theory. I like this one. Social conflict. You know what conflict is? Conflict. Social conflict. You remember I talked to you about counterculture and so? So these people, these guys who are social conflict theoreticians, they say basically every problem in our world is because of conflict. Conflict between groups and subgroups. That's it. So they are always looking at who are the subcultures, who are the dominant cultures, and who are the countercultures. They are always looking to the field of problems, and through that they explain the society. For example, Marxist, you know Marxist, the theory of Marx, he said, well, the problem in the world is because there is a battle between economic classes. There is too much rich and too much poor. And the small group of rich, and the big group of poor, there is a battle between the two. And all the problems in the world is because of this battle. So they look at the world through their doctrine of social conflict theory, of Marxism. Marxism says there are the rich and there are the poor. There is always battle between the two, and one day we hope that this political Marxists say, one day we hope that the poor will take over, and then all, you know, like that. So yeah, you have communism and you have all of that. So you have Marxist theories, battle between economic classes. You have social Darwinism. Have you ever heard of Darwin? Now they call it social Darwinism. What does it mean? The strong will always win. Survival of the fittest. The one who is strong will win. Even though you are lovely and you are kind and beautiful, it doesn't matter. You are weak, so you will lose. Only the strong will win. That's another mind. They say the world is a battle between the strong and the weak. And it doesn't matter if this strong is good ethically or not. It doesn't matter. He's strong and these groups are weak. The strong will always win. So they look at the society through the battle between the strong and the weak. Okay. Then you have feminist paradigm. These are the people who say, well, the problem in the world today, the society today, is because there is sexism and gender inequality in the world. So all the problems that we have, or most the problems that we have, comes from injustice between man and woman. So they try to analyze the society through the injustice between man and woman, and most of the time say, yeah, well, there is problem in the world because the position of the woman is not improved. The women are suffering, and the woman's position must be improved. The woman must go high in the ladder. And then there is this competition, there is this dynamic that these are, yes. So everything is conflict. And out of this conflict, something comes out. And then these social conflict theologians, they want to explain the world through the eyes of that. You have also critical race theory. Critical race theory, he says, well, not man, not woman, but races. Races. There is certain races that are dominant to other races, and the other races that are sub, they are trying to fight, so there is always a battle, and through that, so they try to explain the society through that. Is it clear to all of you? I'm really trying my best. Now, then you have another one that is symbolic. You remember we talked about symbolic interactionalism. Don't be shocked with all these titles. But what is this about? It's a paradigm views human behavior as a reaction of a meaning through social interaction. This focuses on patterns of individual interaction. So he's saying, listen, forget about conflict. Forget about the structural functionalism. We are reaction of the roles that we are playing in the society. And the roles that we play in the society within our groups and the different roles that we play causes the society to be the way it is. That's why they call it symbolic, because the role that you play is like a symbol, influences your society. So the roles that you play, influence is an interaction. So we are all playing roles. Even I am not playing a role. I am playing the role of the teacher, you see. And when I'm home, I'm the role of a father, whatever. So he says, these roles and the symbols that are attached to these roles are making the society the way it is. So the people who are studying symbolic interactionalism, they are interested in roles of the people in the society. Who are they? What are they doing? Why are they doing? And they analyze that. So these people are more micro level. They like to dig into things. Well, the society is like this now. Let me give you an example, because the child rate is not growing in Holland. Child rate. Yeah. Why not growing? The symbolic interactionalist says, yes, it's not growing because the role of the woman is changing, because woman is now also working outside. You see, woman wants to have career. Woman wants to also study. So therefore, they don't have time for raising up a child. So therefore, the child. So it's about the role. But the conflict theory says, no. We don't. We have less children in Holland because For many years, the right of the women was abused in this country, blah, blah, blah. And that's why the women now fighting to get their position in the society. Because of that, they don't have time to raise up children. So it depends on how you are analyzing it. You catch it?
Yeah.
So it's about the role. Okay, the last point, then we will be done. The last point is rational choice theory. Rational choice theory. These people are also unique on themselves. Rational choice theory. What do they mean? He says they explain the society based on the choices individuals make. He says the society is the way it is because of the choices we make. The choices, it's not about conflict. Why? Because, some women, they don't want to fight for their position, but they choose for a different thing. So it's not about choices. It's not about conflict. It's also not about playing role. It's about what is good for you at that time. Human being likes to do that. Human beings chooses for things that are best for them at that time. For example, political party. Today, I may vote maybe Green Party, but the next time I will vote Social Party. Why? Because today the Green Party suits me, tomorrow it doesn't suit me. So I just vote for my choice. So he says rational choices, every human being makes choices based on his rational, what is the best for me at that time, and through that point of view, we can analyze the society. So there are basically different frameworks. I don't know which one you like. Yeah, for me, I like all of them.
On which micro?
Yes, they are also micro.
Micro.
Yes,
Yes,
micro. Most of them micro,
yeah.
because they are interested in human behavior.
You cannot like all of them. You have to make it.
Yeah, I like all of them. But anyway, listen. I want to give you an example, then we will close, and we have questions and answers. I wrote here an example. Yeah, I wrote here an example. Is a researcher observes that in a certain village there is a high pregnancy rate. It's true, people become pregnant there. But baby death rate is very high also. Because you are a sociologist, you are now in that village, you discover, hey, this is strange. So many people are pregnant, become pregnant in a year, but then also many of them are dying. So how is it possible?
What is the problem?
And then you find out that, hey, out of 1,000 births, 100 are dying. Huh? What is that? Now, structural functionalism, those guys, they analyze it this way. The lack of proper healthcare system, you see, they are looking at system. The lack of proper healthcare system is the cause that we need doctors and we need hospitals. So, the structural functionalist says we lack system. We lack organization of hospital.
Yeah.
Social conflict, people, they say Marxist. They say, well, it's a matter of classes. Only the poor have the higher child death rate. Even if you put hospitals, the rich will benefit from it. You see, this is the different point of view.
Yeah.
You see? So, the structural functionalist says, no, we have a high death rate because of the no hospitals. But the social conflict says, no, this has to do with conflict. Even if you put the hospital, only the rich will use it. So the poor will still die. You see, that is what the social conflict Marxist says. Feminist, they are also the social conflict. Feminists would say, no, the problem is the position of the woman in that society. They are working hard in the field and doing household work as well. So the problem is we have to improve the position of the woman in the society. So the feminist says, no, the problem is the position of the woman. Look, the poor woman, she must make the child. She must carry 9 months, the baby, and still she has to work in the field and work hard, so her children dies. So, no. The problem is not hospital. The problem is not, the poor and the rich. No, the woman's position. That's the problem. You see, that sociologists are looking for that. Then you have symbolic interactionalists. What do they say? They say, no, meaning and value of woman must be changed. Woman is woman. There's no problem. Social and symbolic meaning of woman must be changed. Or understanding of what it means to have a child must be changed. Because in this society, women are not highly valued. You see? So the symbolic interaction says, no, this has nothing to do with the conflict or so. No, we need to educate people to understand the role of the woman. That woman is not only to make children, but woman has a different value. The role of the woman must be changed. So then, these are symbolic interactionalists. Rational choice theory. What do they say? They say we have to give people options. Like family planning, whatever. So we have to educate people to make their own choices. Like anti-conception programs, family planning. That the parents have a choice to choose to have babies or not.
4 or 5.
You see, so what I try to explain today is that there are different, of course, there are hundreds of different theories. I'm giving you only 4. You are not a sociology major. You just pass through this. So it's good for you to know. But what I want you to do is, you look at your society, try to analyze it for yourself. Yeah? Well, I hope you have enjoyed our lecture today.